What up? What up? What up? Mic check Mondays. How's everybody doing? Welcome to your Mondays. Hope everybody had a great Easter. Got my man Ron over here, man. How you doing, brother? I think you're on mute, brother.
Starting to show off with technical difficulties.
There
What's up
you
with
go.
that, man? You hear me now? You good?
Yeah. You're good.
The weekend was good. I mean, we had a good time, man. It was the weather was nice. I mean, it was like 80 degrees. Easter weekend,
Yeah.
kid's birthday. We was chilling.
Oh, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
The big 7 boy turned 7. You know what I mean?
Wow. He's
You
growing
know,
fast, man. That 7 years just goes by like that, man. What
so
y'all do?
we went to Bolero. We went to a bowling alley. Brought his friends out. I
Okay.
got him a couple gifts. I got him a little game. He wanted the game. He's in the PS5 now. You know what I mean? So I got him that, and I got him a chessboard. You know what I mean?
Oh,
He wanted to play
teaching them early.
chess. Teaching him early. I was like, he asked me how he can beat me. I said, you can't beat me. You got to think, 5 to 6 moves ahead. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get him to think strategic. But he's doing good, man. We had a good. How was your weekend? What'd you do?
Oh man, we had the family over. We did like a Sunday brunch for Easter. My parents came by. My sister came by. Maya and some of her sorors came by and whatnot, and it was just a good time. Dana cooked the brunch, whole bunch of food out there. Man, we did shrimp and grits. It was waffle. What was it? Chicken and waffles. Had that going on. It was crazy. It was a great time. I wish everybody in the room could have joined, but we're gonna get our brunch on.
I mean, I couldn't even join, man. I was working, man. I had to get that newsletter out. If you ain't got the newsletter, I missed the brunch because we were putting it together. You know what I mean?
Yes. Great job on the newsletter, by the way, too, man. The newsletter is popping. If you aren't tapped in with the newsletter, you got to get tapped in with the newsletter. There's many different ways to do it. I think the easiest way for people who are on YouTube right now, go to our community section, scroll down, hit that link, and you'll go ahead and be tapped into our newsletter. Something that we didn't cover on the newsletter that kind of just came down the wire, and I want to speak about since we're unveiling this big producer tournament bracket that the people are going to vote on step by step. I saw, and I thought this was, like tabloid or fake news type stuff. Chad Hugo is suing Pharrell Williams over the Neptunes name. So, all right, this is reported by Billboard. It says Pharrell Williams and producer Chad Hugo, who together formed the prolific songwriting duo the Neptunes, are now in a legal battle with each other. A legal dispute over the group's name after Hugo accused Williams of fraudulently seeking sole control of the trademark. Before Williams was a solo star, the Neptunes producer had a slew of radio hits in the 2000s, including Hot in Here, Snoop Dogg's Drop It Like It's Hot, Gwen Stefani, Holla Back Girl, and Justin Timberlake's Rock Your Body. The legendary duo, who has been friends since childhood, were inducted into the Songwriter Hall of Fame in 2022. But the legal action filed last week was a federal tribunal. Attorney for Hugo accused Pharrell and his company of attempting to unilaterally, register the trademark for the Neptunes name. A move they say violates their long-standing agreement that saw the pair split everything equally. Throughout their over 30-year history, Hugo and Williams agreed to, and in fact have divided all assets, wrote Hugo's attorney, Kenneth Fleitmich. Let's see, a prominent music industry litigator. By ignoring and excluding Hugo from any and all applications filed by applicant for the mark, the Neptunes, applicant has committed fraud and in securing the trademarks and acting in bad faith.
Is that an April Fool's joke? I mean,
I don't know. And see, that's what I thought when I first saw it too. And I'm like, I don't think that Billboard will write out something this elaborate on April Fool's. It reminds me of when my dad was telling me that, 40 years ago today, Marvin Gaye was killed by his father. And I think that either my mom broke the news to my dad or vice versa. I think my mom broke the news to my dad and it was April Fool's. It's like, that's not funny. You know what I mean? But it might be real. Seems like it's real.
If it is real, we probably not gonna get no more Neptunes joints.
Well, I mean, the Neptunes are kind of like Outkast in that sense, where I'm not really expecting many Neptune joints. I don't know. Me as a super Neptune fan, I'm just gonna go out here and say, especially since I've been doing a lot of research on, just this bracket and who's gonna be in the tournament bracket and production. The Neptunes, they rank higher on the hip hop scale than people may think. Like their hip hop tracks are crazy, and you could tell the difference between a Neptune produced song and a Pharrell produced song and a Chad produced song. Like I like a lot of the stuff that Chad has done by himself personally, but this is unfortunate, man, as a fan. And I mean, I hope they're able to straighten this out. This seems like just one situation that maybe Chad's legal team is checking Pharrell on. I don't know if it was an oversight. I don't know if it was just something that was done to totally, I guess, remove Chad from the equation. It kind of reminds me of that Public Enemy Bernie Sanders thing when Chuck D signed on to do like I think it was a Bernie Sanders rally, and he did it in the name of Public Enemy, and then Flav came out and said, "Well, I don't support Bernie Sanders," and then there came a statement saying, "Well, he's not a part of Public Enemy." So I don't know, man.
I hope it's an April Fool's joke, man. We got that producer tournament coming up, man, and I mean, I like the Neptunes. It was a difference when you can hear the difference in the music when Chad broke away from Pharrell. I mean, the drums, the kits, like the music lacked. You know what I mean? It wasn't the same kind of punch that the Neptunes gave you. They had a run back in the early 2000s. They was making beats for everybody. And I mean, it was just the sound was just way different when Chad wasn't in the picture. It just sounded empty or hollow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really did. And I think that's the best way to describe it. Like the stuff when Chad's involved sounds so full. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't know if it's the instrumentation or it's the sounds that were being used, but Chad's input musically, you could just feel the difference. And I think the first time I noticed that was when Pharrell put out "In My Mind," and I think that and this was like '05, right, when "In My Mind" came out. I think Pharrell produced a lot of that stuff himself, even those songs like "Angel" and "That Girl" and even Can You Have It Like That were dope, but it felt like something was missing as far as the fullness, and that's Chad. And I hope they work this out, man, because to me, they're the best producers. They're the best producers of the past 30 years, in my opinion. They are, man. Like, I mean, they can do it all, and they can do it all seamlessly. Like, they could do a hit for Gwen. They could do a hit for the Clips. They could do a hit for Jay. They could do a hit for Janet. They did everything. Like, there's nothing they didn't do. They could do nerd albums, which were classic as well. Like the genre bending that they were able to do and being able to jump in and out of different genres. Like, I don't think that we've seen anybody like that, like at least over the past 30 years.
Nah, you haven't. I'm trying to think. No, we got the producer tournament, so we'll go through that. We'll go through that and see what's what. I'm going through the comments here, right? And there's a couple questions to you, Mike. Why do you have an LSU hat on?
I got an LSU hat on because LSU Tigers are playing Iowa tonight, and Maya went to LSU her freshman year, and I totally support LSU. I love LSU. Great time out there, great experience, and I love this team, man. And shout out to Flage too. Shout out Flage. She's rhyming. She's a collegiate athlete, and she's the daughter of Camouflage. Rest in peace to Camouflage. So we got them tonight. It should be a great game. Caitlyn Clark is a star. You know what I'm saying? And
she could be a big 3-star. We got to check it out. She take that deal from Coop.
What do you think about that situation, though? I mean, since we are talking about sports real quick, like
I don't know how it would work. I know Master P was starting the league maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. That's when the big three, before it even started. I know Master P was trying to do like a co-ed league, right? So I don't know if the big three is trying to have like a co-ed like type of field. You know what I'm saying? Get some co-ed teams, but I don't know. I mean, for $5 million, I think the WNBA salary is 75 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, for $5 million,
It just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she could join the WNBA at any time. I think the problems with the WNBA are way deeper than people want to acknowledge.
What's the problem?
It's not about the fact that people don't want to watch women play basketball, because college basketball has shown us that's not true, right? Angel Reese is making more money in college than she would going to the WNBA. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Caitlyn Clark's being offered more money in a Big Three league that's only been around for a few years, respectfully, than she would get paid in the WNBA. Now, they got to figure out some sort of way to make it where the WNBA is able to offer these talented athletes what they are worth. Because it seems like, again, someone always told me, something's only worth what people are willing to pay for it. And if Caitlyn Clark is worth that now based on that offer, and the WNBA can't pay that, then they're not able, to actually pay an athlete what they're worth. And that's a problem. And they're supposed to be the highest level when it comes to women basketball.
Right. I don't know. I'm gonna watch the game. I'm gonna watch the game. Hopefully, we'll be off in time. We can check it out. But if I were her, I'm taking a deal. I mean, $5 million over 75 grand. I mean, that only makes sense. I mean, because you don't have to go overseas. Like most female basketball players, they take their WNBA contract. They don't get many endorsements. Then they got to go to overseas, to Europe, to Russia, sometimes to China and play ball. But now you got a $5 million deal on the table that offsets that. You can stay in the country. You get more visibility. It just makes sense to me.
All right. Is the endorsement line of it, is that where the gap is? Because what I'm not understanding is, how is Reese able to get NIL deals in college? And it seems like the WNBA can't offer their athletes similar things.
It's a revenue thing. People are not watching the game or going to the games like that. They don't have the corporate backing for it. I mean, the television right. What's the television rights package of the WNBA? It can't be a lot. You know what I mean? So
why are people watching women's and college basketball and they're not?
Because it's a different game. I think they promote it differently.
Yeah.
It's, people are more attached to a school. So you have that school collegiate feel and that backing of the tournament. So once tournament time comes around, people just galvanize toward it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think even the regular season too. Maybe they need to figure out a way to mirror the college game as opposed to trying to mirror the NBA. Because the NBA's marketability is based on individual stars. And they don't have that star power. And you know what? Let's just keep it all the way real, man. Like Magic and Bird, they obviously took the NBA to a whole nother level. But when Michael Jordan came in, jumping out the gym, dunking over people and dunking like that is what gave the NBA the marketability that we see today. And, the women ain't gonna be out there dunking like that. Now, if they let some Transformers in the league, maybe that could happen, but they're not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they need to lower the rim.
They might need to lower. I don't want to say that. That don't sound right.
I mean, no. I mean, look, if the game is about dunking, it's like, that's like saying, in softball or whatever, they have a bigger baseball. I mean, it's just the truth. And the field's a little smaller so that, you can kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You can kind of, figure out a way to make the game still the same feel no matter who's out there playing. It's an adjustment. But yeah, I mean, would you watch WNBA games if the athletes were dunking over folks?
No, I probably wouldn't. To be quite honest with you.
What would it take? I mean, because really,
I'm just not interested, man. I do like the college women's game a little bit better. To be quite honest with you, it's more fast paced. I'm just not interested, man. I got limited time. I got kids. You know what I'm saying? I got a wife. I got things to do. We got court and hip hop business to take care of. I really don't have time. So my sports watching is football. I might do MMA, boxing when boxing comes around, basketball. But I think, Mike, I think we got a good show today. We got a lot to talk about. But I'm looking at the comments, and we just want to go ahead and dead this now. So, Mike, do you want to say anything? I know there was a couple interviews last week. Shout out to Rap Roundtable. Shout out to Jarv. He's trying to be the Vince McMahon of the game. We respect what he does and trying to turn us into Nitro and WWE. But no, we got a lot of things on our platform that we're doing. But Mike, you want to address it real quick so we can kind of move on with our show? I think the fans want it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, I really don't want to, but at the end of the day, when I said that I wish everybody the best, and I mean that. I'm not gonna come on here and trash people and blast people and things like that, because y'all not here for that. Y'all are here for the music. I would hope that over this past 4 years, what we've been able to build, this was based on the fact that we speak highly on music and we keep people in tune, and the passion that we have for the music. That's what people are here for, not for the back and forth and this and that. Only one thing I want to clarify, and I don't want to speak too much. I did hear, because I didn't watch it, because honestly, it's terrible. You know what I mean? It's like there was no need to. I didn't want to watch it. Just respectfully, just based on that. So one thing I did want to clarify, based on what I heard, what people were telling me was being said, was the last episode thing. I didn't rob people of the opportunity to get a last episode. I would have loved to have gotten a last episode. The message I received after we did our great show last Monday, where we had Mickey Fax, premiered some of the DJ Premier interview, and had Amir on, and it was an action-packed show. It was a great show. Other than the text getting a text from a former co-host saying that, that was a dope show. I'm looking forward to what's next, yada yada. Text I got was, you either dead that show or I'm gone. And I'm just paraphrasing, but that's what it was. And I'm like, well, if that's the case and that's how we're moving and we can't talk like that, then it's been a good 4 years, and I appreciate everything that we were able to build together, and we made history. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be put in a situation where you're going to tell me you do this or else. I mean, because at that point, where does it stop? And I mean, that's just it's the long and short of it. Yeah. I would love to have done a final episode, and the response that I got from that wasn't even a response of saying, okay, well, cool, I respect that decision. Let's do a final episode for the people. And if that would have been the response, I would have loved to have done that, because I think that it deserved that. The response was not that at all. So
right. So we're gonna move on. I do want to say one more thing, that there's a comment that said, I'm the man with the glasses, and some dude with the glasses. If people remember, I was on the show with Coop. Me and Coop did a show back in November 13th when Mike had some family issues. So Coop and I have done a show before. I'm one of the co-founders with Mike of According to Hip Hop. This is different. This podcast was Mike and Coop. Mike D and Coop. Before Mike D and Coop did a podcast, Mike and I were actually going to do one. We kind of had a concept. We did a couple episodes.
Yeah, where like it was 2019.
2019. In the background, if you watch some of the episodes, I was in the background in the studio multiple times, putting together graphics, putting together show concepts. Nobody was ever trying to replace Coop. I know Coop means a lot to this community, the space. It's always been respect. Again, we respect everybody in the space, but we're running our own race. We're not trying to be, Eric Bischoff and against Vince McMahon. We're competing on another level, and we respect everybody what they do, but we got things that we have to do for According to Hip Hop that we're going to keep it moving.
And I want to say this too, because even with the Mic Check Mondays, that was born out of necessity, because our schedules were messed up, and we were only able to provide you guys one show a week. And, Ron stepped up and was like, I'll be able to help with, facilitating this Monday so that people have more than one piece of content that was going on this channel, which is great. And I thought that was a plus. And then when we found that sweet spot on Saturday, I'm like, dope, we got like 3 slots now. But the fact that, I was put in a position to choose for no reason. Once people start even kind of connecting with the show and like the show, I didn't think it was fair to the people to just turn something off that started, that was new, and it was developing for the brand. I never asked him to choose from other shows that he does either. Like, I never was like, you got to choose between Mirror Music and A2HH Live. That's not fair. Like, I want people to grow. I want people to succeed. And that's what the whole thing was for in the first place. I wanted people to get on the platform so that they could develop, their talents and hone in on their skills and, become better in the space and mean a lot to the space. And those things were done. I think the mission was accomplished.
I think so too. So yeah, that's enough of that. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna keep it moving. Again, it's all about the fans. It's all about, this is a different show. We're still gonna give you hip hop news, content, our takes. Some people say my takes are not good, but there's a show
they clowning you, man. But you know what?
So there were same people that were clowning me were loving me when I did the show with Coop. It's funny, man, how things turn up. And it was funny. You guys didn't get to see the earlier shows. Like Mikey D and I were talking. The show grew. Mike D and Coop grew over time. Y'all didn't see the shows that before Coop grew into his character. It's gonna take time. And I ain't trying to be Coop. I'm me. I'm the guy with the glasses. Tom Ford, by the way. You know what I'm saying? I just picked these up this weekend too. So we're gonna do what we gotta do, man. But let's jump into some music and just keep it moving, man. Much love to everybody.
We're here for the music, right?
We're here for the music, man.
Was Premier and Snoop, was that the first thing on?
That was the first thing on. You sent that joint to me Thursday night. You sent me a picture. I think it was like 11 o'clock at night. And I say, what is this? And it was a picture of Snoop Dogg and DJ Premier. Did you get a chance to look at the record?
I did. I listened to it. You know what? I gotta ask you, because let me give some people some sort of insight to it. Ron is the guy who told me back in '97 that Jay-Z was going to be the greatest rapper ever. He told me back in 2002 that Kanye West was the future.
Damn, I said that
too. Other
too.
things you called right too, but I just remember you being the guy in high school, and we're in the South, man. You were big on DJ Premier. DJ Premier was your favorite, right?
Was my favorite.
Still your favorite hip hop producer?
I grew up on DJ Premier because my uncle, he was like 9 years older than me. I called him my big brother, and he would in college he would give me the tape. He took me to my first show. Like, he would take me to the Wu-Tang store and like buy shirts or whatever.
Shout out to the Wu-Tang store.
Took me to the Smoking Grooves concert. Took me to Hard Knock Life tour when that was out. But he would always give me these tapes. What was my man? The Funk Master Flex joints. And he would give me the Gangstar tapes, Hard to Earn, Step Into the Arena. Those are the things that I kind of came up on. You know what I mean? So when in high school, we weren't really listening to that. And we was listening to Outkast, Goody Mob, but I was the one and only cats talking about how dope Premier was. You know what I mean? So I heard this joint on Friday, and it was cool. I mean, I didn't particularly like it. What did you think about it?
I thought it was something cool to ride to. It wasn't, I don't think they tried to make the blockbuster record that, both of their names warrant. I think that if this was in the scope of an album, this would be an album song. But I think what we've seen from Premier, even back in the day, Premier wasn't really brought on to your album to make the single. He was brought on to make that hard street single, like the A Million and Ones, right? He was there to give you Kick in the Door or give you Unbelievable. And I think that in the single era, which is the streaming era, it's hard to really judge those things as one-offs. Like, I think that this was made in the scope of what Premier usually means to the big time stars. And if this were in an album setting, or if Snoop had an EP coming out or a full length album coming out, and this fit within the course of that, I think that we would understand it a little better. But it's being presented as a single. This is Snoop Dogg. For a lot of people in hip hop, is Dre, Premier, and then whoever else.
Pete
so
Rock.
For the first time, Pete, or Ye, or
Easy Mo B.
Or whoever who's in that 3 spot. But for a lot of people, number 1 and 2 is Dre and Premier when it comes to hip hop, right? So Snoop's a long time, you know what I'm saying, collaborator with Dre. So now we're hearing him with number 2 or number 1 for the first time, however you put it. And, you know, it's like, okay, well, that it could be underwhelming for some, but I think that they made a dope record. I think the record's good. And I wanted to ask you as a Premier fan, what were your thoughts on it? And, you know, did you think that it was something that you're going to play back?
No, I'm not. The latest Premier song that I like that I play back a lot is the ASAP Ferg joint, which came out a few years ago, Our Streets. I mean, that's like, and I told you this on a couple of shows ago. You know, you laughed when I told you this. If you were in a vacuum, you came from like outer space, you heard that beat, you would think that was one of his best beats, but it's not. It didn't chart like that. People wasn't rocking it like that. But I mean, I thought that was a good. I mean, that was quintessential Primo.
Do you think that DJ Premier not really updating his style as much as other producers may have? Do you think that adds to his authenticity? And
I was just about to. I was just about to say that. I mean, that
does
makes
it add to his authenticity and consistency, or does it work against him when it comes to evolving?
No, I think it works. It works for him. I mean, that makes him truly authentic. He's not trying to replicate sounds of today. When you hear that Primo, that kit and that loop, you know that's Primo. You know what I mean? You can hear it. He's one of the only producers. Well, not the only producer, but he's one of those producers. When you hear his record, you know that's Primo.
Yeah,
I mean, you just know it.
This is what I will say about Premier too. Not to cut you off, but when we talk about all these producers getting help, we talk about writers getting help. Whether people feel like that his sound is dated, or you know what I'm saying, or never changed up and this and that. One thing you can know when it comes to Premier, he ain't have nobody come in and make that beat for him. I will give Premier that.
No, you don't have no ghost producers with Premier.
Yeah.
You don't have no ghost producers with Pete. You know,
No,
you know that's a
After
Pete.
having a conversation with Pete, I could tell how much he despises that type of stuff too. And I mean, you don't want to say despises, but you could tell he don't get down with that. You know what I mean?
He goes and gets the record, and he's gonna cultivate his sound. He's gonna loop his drums and everything. He's not getting those younger producers and taking them in the studio and putting his name on top of the beat. But there's an argument though, because, and I think you and Coop might have talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Somebody made an argument that a producer is more than a beat maker. Did you make that argument, or did Coop make that argument?
I don't know if I made that argument, because one of the things, and I've gone back and forth, and maybe I did in the scope of Dr. Dre, because Dr. Dre is our Quincy Jones. But thing is, when it comes to hip hop producers are supposed to be, or I don't want to say supposed to be, are put in a position where they have to be producers and beat makers, right?
Right.
And I think that you should get more points if you do both. I think what we have done culturally, we have downplayed the beat maker like they're not as good as a producer. Hip hop is the only genre where you really have a quote unquote beat maker. And a beat maker is special too. But somebody like Premier, he does both. You can't tell me the loops that he got for the Evils didn't bring that out in Jay-Z. That's producing.
That is producing. And speaking of Primo, today's the 26th anniversary of Moment of Truth. That's my favorite, one of my favorite records of all time. I would argue that's the top 25 hip hop record of all time.
Sure, I'm with that. We got 007 in the super chat. He says, to the fans, I've spent time with both Coop and Mike in person. I've been here with you all over the years for great conversations, but these things happen. I wish everyone the best. Let's keep hip hop, peace, and love. I appreciate you, 007. And yes, 007 came down here a few years back. Actually, more recently, I wasn't able to catch up with him. Coop did, but hung out with both of us. Great brother. Hope we can connect when I'm in New York. I need to hit you up too.
Oh yeah. We're gonna be in New York soon. I don't want to reveal that, but we'll be in New York in due time.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, if Ron said Jay was the best in 97, he's already wrong, because fast forward to 2024, it's Nas. It's always been Nas.
Okay.
Be Nas. It
You know
is.
what? And I can admit that I was wrong, but I can also admit that during that time, he did become one of the biggest rappers in the
But
world.
see, where I respect where you came from it in '97, he wasn't even on the radar for that, really. At least down
Right.
here, like he was. The conversation was Big Nas Pop, really, But
I saw it, and I should have been an A&R in a second life. You know what I mean? Maybe I still can. We start a label, but I saw I saw how Def Jam, I saw how they were positioning him, and then once the Hard Knock Life tour came out, and once that album came out, it was out of here. You know, I knew Volume 1. I knew Volume 1 he was going to be a star because he was positioning himself. I saw his competitive nature.
yeah,
I mean, you can tell, always can tell a competitor, the way they move, the way they talk, the way they think, things
I
that they
think
say on the
he's hip
record.
hop's biggest competitor for sure.
Right. He wanted to be number one. You can
He
hear
did.
it. You can hear it in the records. If you go back to the Evils, he's telling you that record right there. You know what I mean? He's telling you, his mindset. And when you understand his mindset, you understand what he's capable of.
Yeah.
So, and I knew that. I knew that. You know what I'm saying? I also knew, like, not to cut you off, I knew that I saw the competitive nature in Kanye. I mean, you can hear it. You go back to Netflix and watch his documentary, Genius, what's it called? Genius, right?
Yeah, it's not Genius. They just spelled it funky.
Yeah, I mean, you could just tell. You can see it in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? You can see how the way he's putting his music together, how it's like a relentless thing. It's a passion.
And he did something. He was daring to be different. The hunger with Kanye was all the way there. He had so many things working against him. He didn't have the best rap voice. He didn't have the street credibility at the time. That was everything in hip hop. He had a real everyday man type of story, and he was known as being the producer. The fact that he was able to break out of those things, and with the first album, let's be real, man, College Dropout, I know it's revisionist history because it's a brilliant album, but when it came out, the selling point for us was the fact that he's doing the beats on here, and he got Common on here, he got Mos Def on here, he got Talib on here, he got Jay-Z on here, he got Freeway on here. So this is going to be a pretty dope album. It wasn't about him as a rapper. And the fact that he was able to change that narrative, by just constantly getting better and constantly beating the drum of what he was and who he was as an artist, I got to give him high marks, man. Because
so that shift happened as him as an MC, as a rapper. It happened late registration, right? That's when folks said, okay, he can. That's when they accepted him, or was it graduation?
I feel like it was a 3-part series for him because College Dropout was like, whoa, I didn't know it was gonna be that dope. Late registration was like, oh, he's actually a solo rapper. Like he's actually an artist now, not just a producer. And graduation was, oh, he's the best artist in the game, especially going head up with somebody like 50 at that time. And yeah, man, I mean, where a lot of people in hip hop's really big on their debut albums, and the debut albums kind of changed the color of everything. Get Rich or Die Trying, Illmatic, I mean, even Reasonable Doubt, even though that it didn't catch right along, but it's something that people can, go home and write about in the future. Ready to Die, things like that. But for him, it was a 3-part thing, and it kept building. And then, it kept going even after that. So I got to give a lot of respect to the way that Kanye did it. He stayed in, like you mentioned on the documentary, he stood on his morals and stood on his laurels and didn't change up for the game. He knew who he wanted to be as an artist. And regardless of who he was signed to, he wasn't going to deviate from that. I mean, he already had his first 4 albums already, mapped out ahead of time. Nobody does that in hip hop. Like nobody.
Nah. It's very strategic. It's very kind of Dr. Dre-ish, because Dr. Dre thought about the Chronic 2001 Detox. Detox still never
those
came
are
out.
themes, you know what I mean? Like, and I guess you could say the graduation, late registration, all that stuff is a theme too. But it's kind of like, to me, I looked at the Chronic and then 2001 as basically the Chronic 2. You know what I mean? And then the Detox, which we never got. I mean, we only got 2 Dr. Dre albums, right? And we're counting Compton. No, you know what?
I'm not counting. You counting them joints. I'm not counting that. You count.
No, why not? Why not? No, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
were
no.
they
You're not
really?
gonna
Were
give
they
him a
really?
pass on that.
Were they really Dr. Dre albums? That
Yes, they
Aftermath is a
were.
compilation. That was a compilation,
All of
Mike.
his albums are compilations.
No,
We're
but
not gonna give him a
that was
pass on
branded.
that.
That was branded as a compilation. That was not. That was
How
not.
many songs he got by himself on 2001? He got like one song by
I'm not
himself.
saying what 2001 was. I'm saying that the Aftermath compilation, the first album, was a compilation. It's like Dr. Dre Presents. It wasn't a Dr. Dre album. It's not even listed. Is it listed on his discography? I don't even
It
think it
should
is.
be. I don't see what the difference
Eh,
between that and the other stuff is.
no, I don't know.
No, 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 no. You're gonna have to explain to me how he has a song
Because that's
in
the
there because
I'm explaining it.
they're done that on that album, right?
Let's go to Wikipedia and let's go to Wikipedia. It's not
I'm not
listed.
gonna go to Wikipedia. I'm going with my music.
We go to LA. We go to California, which we are. We're gonna be in California soon, by the way. Just a little note. We go to
I want
LA,
to hear
and
because we're gonna get to the phone lines.
you ask the people how many albums does Dr. Dre have? They're gonna say two. Where's my West Coast hat? LeRoy Green in here? Where
Yeah,
you at?
LeRoy's in here. We're gonna get him in here in a minute to talk about this too.
I want to get
Dre has
LeRoy's
4
opinion
albums.
on that. He's got
Dre
two
has
solo.
4
He has
albums.
2 solo albums, Mike. 2.
Those aren't
There's
even
Chronic.
solo albums. Ron, come on, man. Like, listen, how
Well,
many
damn,
solo songs?
you just said College Dropout you was looking forward to all the features that was on that. Is that a solo? Is that a solo album?
It is a solo album.
Okay, but you just said
all
literally
of Dr.
5
Dre's
minutes ago.
albums. No, this is
But
what
you
I
just said 10 minutes ago that you was looking forward to College Dropout because all the features had Common, had Jay, had Mos Def, had other folks on it. Jamie Foxx.
He still had Jesus Walks and Through the Wire and things like that by himself.
You got The Watcher. You got the Watcher. Who's on the wall?
Okay, it's just Dre on The Watcher.
Okay.
Oh, but the other album that you're talking about is a compilation. Been there, done that. That's only Dre on there, right?
I think the album says, and it says Aftermath Presents, whatever it's called. What was it called?
Aftermath Presents. I think it was just Aftermath Presents.
Yeah, ... I mean, people would say he only has 2 solo albums. I think he only has 2. The third one, because when they was talking about Detox, they said his third anticipated solo album is going to be Detox.
How do you differentiate a compilation album from an artist that does nothing but compilation albums? That's like DJ Khaled saying that, you know what, this ain't a DJ Khaled album. This is a compilation. What?
So wait a minute. So you're saying DJ Khaled doesn't have any solo albums either?
No, he does have solo albums, but all of his albums are, compilations. Just like all of Dre's albums are compilations. You're never going to hear a Dr. Dre album where it's just Dre rhyming with just a few features. Everything is going to be littered with features like Hitman's all over 2001, like Snoop is all over The Chronic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So all I'm saying is that Aftermath album and the Compton album ain't no different than those. So he got 4 albums.
Well,
2 of them are just great.
We let
the other 2 are forgettable, and we don't want to admit that the other 2 are in his catalog. That's what it sounds like.
We gotta let the LA cats decide that. Me being from Georgia, being from down here, we only say you got 2 albums. You know that, Mike. You know
Blue
that.
Collar Hustler with the super chat says RZA is the 3rd spot, bar none. RZA the 3rd spot? Okay. CJ King super chat says Snoop has had 2 previous songs with Snoop. One on The Owners, yeah, and one on Pay the Cost to Be the Boss. Yeah, I do remember the one that Premier did on Pay the Cost to Be the Boss. I think he's saying that with Premier. Yeah. Let's see. We got OG Weston with the super chat said, "What's good, fellas? I got a suggestion for the producer tournament. Start with the regional battle, then have the best from the regions battle."
See, OJ Weston, I told you about that last week, Mike.
You did, but we always do that, man. We always have.
So tell them I want to show the bracket, but we just got it's not finalized yet. It's not. I think it'll be out tomorrow. I want to show it, but how did you put it together? Because I think I want to continue this producer conversation. We're gonna talk about Easy Mo B coming up. We're going to talk about the Track Masters coming up, Ninth Wonder. That's coming up. But how did you arrange the bracket? Because I did the same thing. I thought the same thing that OJ Weston said. I said, let's arrange it regionally And Mike was like, "Nah, I don't want to do that. We gonna
I
do
mean,
it this
because we
way."
always do that. The way I was thinking, I kind of had a side where there were more so producers that make singles and hits, right? Then you kind of had a side where it's the album makers. Then you had people who were kind of from the digital era. And then you had a section where it was like more crew type producers. Like, I would look at RZA as like a crew type producer. Dr. Dre is a crew type producer where they, produce within their camps. I think that sonically it's easier. I won't say easier, but it makes more sense when you're comparing the two as opposed to, just doing it regionally. Because sometimes you have regionally, let's just say you got Manny Fresh and Organized Noise. Does that make more sense than having Organized Noise in a section where you got people who've made albums? You know what I mean?
I got you. Let's get.
Manny ain't made albums, but you know what I mean? It's just the approach. And I kind of sectioned it off based on the approach.
All right, let's give them a preview. In the first round, we have.
I don't know if it's hold on. Now, I don't know if these are all set in stone with the first round, but go ahead.
Tentatively scheduled. I mean, this go out tomorrow, man. We need to get it. It need to be almost ready. First round, we had what do we had? We had Track Masters. Let's start there.
Oh, the Track Masters and
Track
DJ
Masters
Paul
versus DJ Paul and Juicy J.
Oh man, I hate that, man.
I got my opinion, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and cook first.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say, man. All of these matchups, even in the first round, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it like this too, is because each round is going to be action packed. I mean, you got 64 producers, 64 of the best producers and producer teams of all time. And I think this Track Masters and DJ Paul and Juicy J was kind of like a, duo versus a duo type of thing. Both of them made things within their camp, outside of their camp. I think Track Masters is highly underrated. And I think both of these camps or both of these crews, their music aged well and they moved on into the next generation. You hear a lot of younger acts remaking some of the things that Track Masters made. Same thing with DJ Paul and Juicy J. And these are two different regions. I don't even want to say how I would vote here because I'm a huge Paul and Juicy J fan. But that's difficult, man. That's difficult. Track Masters did a lot of great work. And what I wanted to see happen in this tournament as we break down each round and as we prepare people for each round, I want people like Track Masters to get the recognition they deserve. DJ Paul and Juicy J too, where we can actually go down the line with some of their best work and some of the things that they've done that people might not even know that they've done.
Track Masters, DJ Paul, Juicy J. I like the Track Masters, Tone and Poke. Shout out to Tone and Poke. They had some whack songs too, though. You know what I mean?
I used to blame Track Masters for
the Blueprint being whack.
Nas's beats.
Why used to do that? Because you had to understand the situation. They were on the same label, so that was a contractual thing.
I was ignorant. No,
at the time, we didn't know.
I was ignorant. I didn't know.
We thought an artist could just pick beats and just go to the studio and record them. When you were on a label, they didn't want to Columbia at the time. There's a deal they had with the producers, and the producers on the label, you have to fulfill that deal by providing beats to the artist. So Nas had no choice at that time to use Track Masters. But you do blame Track Masters for one of the wackest Jay-Z songs ever, right?
Yeah, I do.
Of all time. I mean
Jigga that nigga Jigga's bad. And
that's the worst. That's one of the worst songs. And they did the original Fatty Girl, no, the second Fatty Girl, because they couldn't get the sample clear.
The Neptune one was better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you remember that verse I played last week. That was the one that was on. But I do like the Dreams joint. Biggie. Track. I'm just playing. Biggie.
Oh.
They made that.
I didn't realize they did that. I think Tone did Juicy as well, and I think he gets credit for Who Shot Ya also.
Yeah. And you weren't a big fan of I Rule the World either, were you?
I wasn't a big fan of If I Ruled the World, but the work that they did with LL Cool J, Loungin', I Shot Ya, it was something else. I mean, I like Hey Love, it was cool. You know what? I'm talking myself out of a track
Nah,
master vote. But you know what?
no, you can't. I mean, because
Overall,
the songs that 3-6 did are just they sonically just sound they're different, man. And
they're
you the
very
3-6 guy. Mike was the first person to put me on the 3-6. I was like, this is a strange guy. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
me and
That's
Melvin
back
were on
that
that 3-6 stuff.
that's back when they was talking about all types of crazy stuff on the record. But
It
you ain't
was
talking
the
you
it
ain't
was
talking
music.
yourself out of that. You ain't talking yourself out of that. You a 3-6 guy.
I mean, the thing is, man, like even when I listen to Isaiah Rashad, when I listen to 21 Savage, and even Metro does it all the time. Metro is one of the best producers of this era, in my personal opinion. These guys go back and take records that we were listening to from 3-6 in the 90s and play them today, basically. You know what I mean? They don't even update them like that. They just put them out now and they work now. I think that I think 3-6 has become the Parliament Funkadelic of their era, where it's like an era 2 decades after them are able to just use their stuff for new hits. And there's not a lot of people who can say that. And I think that's special. CJ Kidd with the super chat says Dre has one song on the Aftermath album with his voice. He raps on 8 or more songs on both the Chronic and the
I
Chronic.
told you the Aftermath
Okay.
joint was a compilation.
So we're not gonna all right. So we're gonna say that Dre has 2 albums and 2 compilations. Is that how we're gonna do it?
That's what we're gonna say. And he had how many NWA albums he had?
It's so crazy. You know what, man? If the Aftermath album was great, niggas would be counting it in his catalog. That's the sad part.
But how
The
could
only
they?
reason
He
why
just
y'all not
told you.
counting
He just told you only rapped on one song.
Y'all only reason why y'all not counting it because it's trash.
No, he only ain't counted. We're not counting because he only rapped on one song, Mike. That's why
it was the single.
The man just told you what it was. He said
It's
he
his
rapped
name
on.
not on the album.
Let me pull the comment back up, man. He says Dre has one song on the Aftermath album with his voice. He raps on 8 or more songs on both Chronic and 2001. There you go. That's why it's not a solo Dr. Dre album. There you go.
That line on Still DRE always gets me where Jay-Z was like, haters saying Dre fell off. How, nigga, my last album was The Chronic. Like, no, your last album was the Aftermath album. They tried to erase this album from history. I'm not gonna let them do it. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Mike, all the chat about, we got caught up in this chat, this back and forth Teats talk earlier. My mind couldn't process all the hate that was coming my way. I couldn't really get on my square. But hopefully by 2 more shows from now, we can be done with this. And shout out to Jarvin Rap Roundtable. But OJ Weston has something I was thinking, but I couldn't get out of the hate. You know what I mean? So read that for me, sir.
He said, Mike, did you say the Neptunes are the best producers of the past 20 years? Yay, giving you a call after this. I said 30.
No. I thought you said 20, I thought.
20 or 30. I mean, either or, you know what I mean?
Either or is not true. And OJ Weston
I think that Kanye is a better hip-hop producer than the Neptunes.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about hip-hop, sure. I said producers, period. Like, when we talking about everything, that's why I was naming the Gwen stuff. That's why I was naming the nerd stuff. Yeah. Now, when it comes to, like we said with Rick Rubin, when it comes to overall producer, yeah, they're somewhere else. But if we're just talking hip-hop, like Rick Rubin's not over Marley Marl at all. I went through some of Marley Marl's stuff, man. Like, Marley Marl should go very far in this tournament. And I'm looking forward to being able to break down his whole, discography, man. Because the stuff that he made so early, crazy.
Who do you have him slated to go against first?
What does that look like first? Let me pull up the joint. Give me 1 second.
Then after that, let's jump into Easy Mo B and Ninth Wonder.
Oh man, well,
that's a tough one.
Is it? I guess it is, depending on what you're looking for.
I mean, I'm giving it to Easy Mo B, but I mean, some people would argue that that Ninth Wonder could do something with it.
Okay, so yeah, Marley Marl's going up against Daz in the first round.
That's tough.
It is tough. Daz is great, but Marley Marl's Marley Marl, man. But yeah, Easy Mo B, and you said
Ninth Wonder.
Okay. Well, I will give Ninth this. Ninth is an album maker. Easy Mo B's made bangers. When I was going down, because what we're going to do with the profile of this, we're going to pick 5 of their strong records and highlight them so that, we can give each producer a profile. And the records that I have for Easy Mo B, we have Flavor in Your Ear. You got Warning, Temptation, Lex Coops, Beamers, and Benz, and Everything Remains Raw from Busta Rhymes. These are heavy records, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Give me the loot.
Man, Easy Mo B's crazy with it. And I think one of the things with Ninth is, even though he has great albums like The Minstrel Show, and y'all know I've said on this show over and over, or on this platform over and over, I think the Ninth Wonder is the star of Little Brother.
We having some buffering issues, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You see me? We good?
Yeah, we just have some buffering issues, man. We good?
Cool. But yeah. You hear me now? All right. Ninth Wonder is the star of Little Brother, in my personal opinion. He made The Minstrel Show. He made, The Listening. Great albums. But what he's missing is, against somebody like an Easy Mo B, is those big bangers. Somebody said Warning alone is better than everything Ninth made. Okay. Ninth is a staple out here, though. Oh, did we lose Ron? Right here? Yeah, Ninth is a staple out here. But yeah, I think that when it comes to Ninth Wonder and okay, I thought you was gone for a minute. When it comes to Ninth Wonder and the Easy Mo B, I think those individual songs are just going to carry producers over. We talk about albums kind of being the deciding factor, but if you're an album making producer and you don't have those hard hitting individual songs, it's going to be tough going up against somebody like an Easy Mo B that has those type of records. It just is.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, man. I'm looking forward for the people to get into the tournament tomorrow. You got to go to YouTube.
What we're going to do is we're going to make it where people are going to be voting on YouTube, right?
Yeah, people can go to YouTube and vote. People can subscribe to the newsletter and vote. But the primary way to do it is go to YouTube and vote. And we may have some surprises to people that vote. We may have some giveaways that we'll announce in the coming days. Trying to make it interesting for the people. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about our playlists, because we didn't really talk about it earlier. The Spotify playlist we put out every week. Let me put that on the screen. To me,
hold on. Oh, okay. What we got?
No, you want to say something? You want to cut in real quick?
Oh, no. We can go to this next. I wanted to get to this, Migos being the best hip hop group of all time.
Yeah. Let's get, because we're gonna be on a while for that one. But let's knock this out first. But we had a good playlist this week. Go to Spotify, check it out. This is my favorite one that we did.
Is it? Okay.
It's our third one. But I mean, we had Raid, Pusha T, and 50, produced by Pharrell. Or did the Neptunes do that when I was a Pharrell beat?
I don't know. I think let me look that up while you're talking.
We had The Rock from Come Home With Me with Cameron. That was a good one. I mean, A Bird in the Hand, classic, crazy record. Keep It Thorough. I mean, what can we say about Keep It Thorough? I mean, that's one of the best Alchemist beats of all time, in my opinion. Soul Food, Goody Mob, Brutus, West Side Gun, Lemonade by Gucci. And then we had, what else we had? We had 2 more joints. We had Welcome to the Terror Dome, Public Enemy, and we had Know the Ledge. I mean, this is the best playlist I think we came up with.
Really? Okay.
Why did you pick Brutus and Soul Food?
I think I picked Dirty South, right? Is it
No, you picked Soul Food.
I don't know, man. It was just the vibe, man. Like, I have random playlists going on, or just random thoughts that make me want to, just play certain records. And Brutus was just on my mind. You know what I mean? Right. And my man Pete produced it too, and that was one of those records that I didn't even know that Pete Rock produced it. And so I was like, shit. When I seen him, I was like, man, that Brutus beat is crazy, man.
Do you know why I picked Raid?
Why?
You can't figure out why I picked Raid?
50.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50. And what was 50 doing last week?
50 was
He was
turning up.
trolling. He was
Yeah,
turning up because of what?
Puff. I mean,
Because of the raid.
oh,
You see how I'll be dropping
gotcha.
subliminals
Pulled
on
the thing to get. I got you. Okay,
a lot of
great. That makes
subliminals is dropped. A lot of folks don't,
boom.
folks will understand that as we go along in this journey together. They'll see the subliminals that I drop in the commentary that I provide. But
the subliminals is there.
we're gonna be in New York. Did I tell you we're gonna be in New York soon? But that's another. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, that's happening.
Okay, so Offset was on Shay Shay.
He was.
And he gave his Mount Rushmore of groups. Do you have a list of his Mount Rushmore groups?
No, when I watched the interview, he didn't really give a Mount Rushmore. He said, well, he did say that the best group was Outkast, and he was number 2. Okay. They were number 2. And I made a note. What else he say? He said, that's it. I don't think he said anything else. He just said,
I love the respect that Outkast has garnered over the years, man, because I think that once again, their music just ages so well, and every era can understand the musicality of it. They're one of those few groups, and that's why it's very disappointing that they don't continue on, but maybe that adds on to the allure. They're one of those groups from a different era that all eras can connect with for some reason. And I guess whether they're active or not, if they're able to do that without being active, I guess that does make them the greatest, right? Now, I don't know.
I don't know if they're the greatest group. I would have to argue against that, man. They did a lot of great things.
I think Tribe
Southern Playalistic, Aquemini. I think Tribe is an argument, and we had this conversation many times. I think that Tribe could give Outkast a run for their money if you want to go 20 for 20. It's a compelling argument. So if you can't go get past Tribe, then I don't think you can be considered the best group of all time. You're in the top 10 for sure, but then you got a Public Enemy. Public Enemy. Are we gonna say? Do you consider Gangstar a group, a duo? A producer and an MC. Are they considered a group or just a duo?
This is why I look at the producer and MC thing, and I feel like that's a whole different category in itself. Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Eric B and Rakim, Gangstar. I think that those are a section of their own, where you have the MC and the producer, or the DJ and the MC, the Cool G Rap and DJ Polo. I think that's a whole different thing. But yeah, when it comes to groups, I'm gonna say duo and more. Let's just count duos in this, because I know some people will be like, "Oh, that's not a group, that's a duo." Let's say 2 people or more, 2 MCs on the mic or more. I think Tribe's the greatest hip hop group of all time. Either them or Public Enemy. I would give them the edge over Public Enemy because of the albums. And not to say that Public Enemy ain't got the albums either, because I think they may have the greatest hip hop album ever. But Tribe's consistency with albums and the trails that they blaze and how well their albums have aged, and even coming with the most recent effort, what was that, 7-8 years ago, right after Fife's passing, I think they solidified themselves as the greatest hip hop group of all time. Who do you think is the greatest hip hop group ever?
I would have to agree. I'm not gonna just fight you just to fight you today on that one. I would say, if I think about it and I sit back and just think, I would say Tribe is number 1. I would say Wu-Tang is 2. Then I would say Public Enemy is 3. Then I might get the Outkast after that.
Wait a minute. You got Wu-Tang. All right, we gotta break down this Wu-Tang thing. Now,
for the audience, I grew up on that was one of the first albums I got, so that's kind of more of a personal pick. 36 Chambers was the first album I actually went and purchased. Actually, my uncle gave it to me, so that's the first one I opened up the rapper, and I listened to that album 100 times in a row. So for
Wu
me,
Tang, yeah. I mean, listen, man, Wu Tang, they had my mind as a youth, and if we're counting everything that's been done,
right?
it's
So I'm
no,
count, I'm
it's
counting,
no
I'm
question.
counting, I'm counting everything.
I'm
I'm counting
counting
the
group
purple
albums.
tape. I'm counting Liquid Swords. I'm
No,
counting.
you can't do that. That's not fair. That's not fair. I'm counting group albums. If we're taking the group efforts, 36 Chambers, Wu Tang Forever, uh,
Iron Flag,
the W, Iron
Iron
Flag.
Flag.
I can't put them over Tribe, Public Enemy, shit, De La Soul, even or Outkast. I can't.
So let's get back to what Offset said. He said Migos is the best group of all time. Outkast. I know he said the Outkast was the best. They were after
Quavo
Outkast.
said the Migos are the greatest group
Well,
of all time.
Quavo said they were the best. Where do you slot Migos? Are they top 10? Because to me, the Migos are important because they're really the last group that hip hop has seen. I mean, we're in an era now with SoundCloud, where folks going to YouTube making music. They're not really groups. I don't think the record labels or the independent labels are putting out, independent artists are putting out groups, right? So Migos are the last thing we know as a hip hop group. Where do you rank them? Are they top 20? Are they top 15, top 10? Where do the Migos rank in your mind?
This is tough for me because I'm a huge fan of what Amigos did. I saw what they were doing from the very beginning, all the way from the Young Rich Niggas mixtapes. One of the things that really got me on the Migos, and I think I've expressed this before, is the fact that when I went to YouTube and started looking up their songs, and this is early on, they had a video for everything that they were making. And I was like, these guys' work ethic is crazy. And I like their stuff. It wasn't just the work ethic. And they did something different. Now, granted, they do come off of the tree of Lord Infamous and that 3-6 thing, and I think really more so Crime Mob, but that's a whole nother story. But they were able to cement themselves into who they were in this era. And like you said, they were in a group when groups really didn't exist in hip hop anymore. It's so tough to even be a group in hip hop right now, especially making the kind of music they make, because the DJ's not going to get past the second verse. DJs most of the times now ain't even going to get past the first verse. So if you have young guys coming up, they're not even thinking about being in a group because it's like, this isn't one of those, I'm going to wait my turn to get on the mic because I might not even be heard. And a group like a Bone Thugs and Harmony with 4 or 5 members, forget about that. That's not happening anymore. So I will give Migos that for the impact and for what they mean to this era. But what's difficult for them on an all-time list is the fact that they kind of operated during a time when they were the only group. So it's like they really didn't have many competitors on a mainstream level. There were a few other groups out there. While we're talking about other groups all time that were operating during a time where De La Soul was around, Goody Mob was around, Brand Nubians is around, Tribe is around, Public Enemy is around, NWA sound, like there's a whole bunch of groups everywhere. So it's hard to put them over some of those guys. But even 3-6, man, like how do you even, you can't really even put Migos over 3-6, A-Ball, MJG, UGK.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? And it's no knock to them. I just think that we're just gonna have to see how much their music is going to carry on in other generations. We've seen that with these other groups. We know the longevity of the sound of what 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul is Dead. We know what that sounds like now. The argument about a lot of the people in the digital era is this is hot right now, but people ain't gonna be listening to this in 2 years. And after the Migos have been broken up, it's been about 2 years now. I don't hear their stuff as much as I thought I may have been hearing it. You know what I mean?
You're right. And that's another thing. As time goes on, you start realizing that things a little bit different. Because this is another topic for another day, and we'll talk about this. You probably have already talked about this before, but Jay's music is not, even though I did project that he was going to be great, his music is not really carrying over the way I thought it would carry over. It's just not.
I mean, I think that's because he made music for the times. I think that a lot of the time, especially in his prime, it was more about getting stuff out, and I'm going to get stuff, and I'm going to work with what's hot. I'm going to work with what's now. I don't think he went back and crafted and said, you know what, I'm going to do something new. I'm going to create something new, like a Kanye would do. You know what I mean? And I think that the byproduct of that long term is, the stuff might not age that well. Even though it hit in the moment, it becomes nostalgic at that point. And I don't know if Jay knows how to do that. Because even Reasonable Doubt sounds like the 95 era, if we being perfectly honest, which was more of a timeless era, which kind of carried over to make Reasonable Doubt, outside of his incredible mic performance, a timeless piece of work. But everything after Reasonable Doubt, you got the Sunshines on there where he was kind of doing, what was cool in that moment. You got, Who You Wit's cool. You got the I Know What Girls Like, where it was kind of like the bad boy era. And Hard Knock Life, that was the one record that he did that was kind of like off the beaten path of what everything else was going on. But then you got Can I Get Her? That kind of sounded like what was going on at the time. So over time, when you hear these songs, you're like, oh, that's 1998. Man, when I listen to Low End Theory, man, I couldn't put a year to it. When I listened to B from Common, I was listening to that in my headphones the other day, man. I'm like, I couldn't tell anybody based on the sound when this album came out. I couldn't.
I mean, it's crazy because my daughter, I bought her a mixer for Christmas because she wants to she's an aspiring DJ. And she just listened to mixes for 2 weeks straight. She was listening to different DJs, right? And I would send her stuff. And there weren't a lot of J records. I mean, she would go the underground mixes. I mean, she would just try to do from London, from LA to New York. The DJs wasn't really playing Jay's records like that. You would hear some Pac, you hear Nas, you know what I'm saying?
That's big of you to say.
And it's big of me to say. I mean, it just is what it is. And, when I go out and about, and for me personally, if I'm gonna load up Spotify, I'm gonna load up, I'm gonna load up some Wu, I'm gonna load up some Tupac, some Biggie, I'm gonna play a Nas record, I'm gonna play a Scarface record, I'm gonna play Ye. You know what I mean? I rarely go to Jay. And that's kind of odd in my mind.
For your daughter, as a DJ, as a young DJ, right, what do you think would be her go-to Jay record if there were one?
I Just Want to Love You. She might play Run This Town. She might play Empire State of Mind. I'm just trying to think what she would play. I mean, that's what
People don't love Empire State of Mind.
I don't like that record. That's a pop record. That's a pop record. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That
was his first number one record, right?
Yep, it was. LeRoy Green with the super chat says, I'm not gonna say best group, but Migos' flow has probably impacted more than any other flow we've seen. It's even impacted pop and R&B crazy. And that's true. The impact is there. And I think that's what the Migos really have on their side. The chemistry, the impact, and the fact that they came from the mud with it. And I mean, we've seen the whole thing. But I think where it makes it difficult from them, they come up in an era where albums aren't as important, whereas the other groups that they would be going against, albums were very important. Right. They don't have the albums to stand with those other individuals, in my opinion.
Right.
But on the plus side for them, they got a lot of material. I've always said there's a mainstream Migos and there's a SoundCloud Migos. Like, they got a catalog out of this world. They got a lot of material. So they got underground stuff and overground stuff, what kind of makes you feel like, 3-6 when it comes to them. Jermaine Johnson, super chat. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I was gonna say we got another super chat from Jermaine Johnson. Go ahead.
Oh, we're on the same page. So Wu members have a lot of songs on their solo albums where 3 or more group members are on one song. I count those songs as a part of the group catalog. Now, if you want to count Guillotine as a part of Wu-Tang's group catalog, I'm fine with that. But I don't think we should be able to count the whole album into that mix. You know what I mean? If we're going song for song and we're saying, all right, this is Public Enemy's catalog, boom. This is Wu-Tang's group catalog. I wouldn't mind if, you threw Guillotine in there, Wu Banger 101 on there, or stuff like that. Like Wu-Tang is incredible. I'm just trying to be fair, because if we count everything when it comes to them, yes, they're the best hip-hop group of all time. It's no question. They got too many classics.
Gotta be. Before we leave off Offset and Amigos, he had another thing to say on the show. They asked him what was his. Did you see that part? He asked him what was top 5 Atlanta rappers. You see that joint?
I did not. Go ahead.
He said Andre 3000 was number 1. He said himself and the Migos as a group was number 2. Number 3 he said Gucci, and 4 he said Future, but he didn't really give a 5th spot. I don't know. That's interesting.
T.I. disrespect is wild, man. And I'm not saying Offset was openly disrespecting T.I. Where does that come from? I think it comes from, I'm going to be honest here. Got to be honest on these airwaves. It's a combination of things. I think that over time, T.I. hasn't done the best job of taking care of his legacy. I think that being in and out of jail and some of the, talks that people, think of how he got out and all those things, they matter to some people as well.
What about the music, though? When you talk about the music, why they not? I mean, he made some of the most quintessential albums of the South, of Atlanta.
He did, man. He really did. And I mean, Offset's in the age bracket where I would think that he probably would have grew up where T.I. was probably his favorite rapper at one point, I would think. You know what I mean? But the other thing about T.I. that's mind-boggling to me, too, is the fact that he is rapping at a high level even right now. Like, there never was a point where T.I.'s, lyrical capabilities fell off. I think that he's one of those guys where it was clear that the game was done with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what you make, you're not going to be as hot as you once were. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing that he did that really warranted this. Like, I think the one album that T.I. made in the prime of his career that was a drop-off was the T.I. versus T.I.P. But then he came back with Paper Trail. You know what I'm saying? Like, it never was a point where it was like, oh, man, this T.I. ain't got no bars anymore. Because T.I. is snapping right now. His feature game is incredible. He's the most balanced, all-around Southern MC we've ever seen, by far. I mean, he's the best rapper in Atlanta. It is what it is. And this is coming from somebody who was pushing back when I first heard T.I. I'm Serious talking all this King of the South, talking about he's this and that. I'm like, who does this guy think he is? He earned it, man. He's the best rapper Atlanta has ever produced.
I agree wholeheartedly, man. I don't know why people don't think of him as that. I guess he's in that Killer Mike territory, because if you ask folks down here, that's not, Killer Mike don't come top of mind when you ask like who's the best of Atlanta.
Well, see, no, that's different. Killer Mike ain't got the songs that T.I. got, and I say that respectfully. I love Mike. You know what I mean? I think Mike's a great person. He's a great ambassador for the city. He's a great politician to some extent. But when it comes to like the songs, the feature appearances, and things like that, like him and T.I. are in a whole nother stratosphere. I would say, just being objective here, because all right, let me put this disclaimer out there. I think from a skill standpoint, Andre and CeeLo could out-rap everybody, right? But this ain't about that. This is about being an overall artist, having a catalog, and showing what you've been able to do as an individual artist. T.I.'s the best MC to come out of Atlanta. Then I'm probably going to go Big Boy.
Okay.
Then I'm probably going to, Go ahead.
We got Leroy Green here. Let's bring Leroy Green on.
Oh, Leroy Green's in the building? All right.
Yes, sir.
Leroy. What up, partner? What's going on, player?
What's good? Let me make sure my levels is right. Am I too loud? Too
Yeah,
low?
you are
Hey,
too
man,
loud. I was gonna say,
we
turn
got a
it down a little
we
bit.
got a harsh audience, man. The audience saying I sound like I'm on a late night talk show or something. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I thought I
I'm
was,
laid back with it.
I got the nice mic. You know what I mean? So I might have to I'll take the mic away and just go raw with it next week. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Let me talk real low because I don't know why it's loud.
All right, now you good now. You good right there.
You good? You good? What's up, LeRoy?
I'm good. So where we going? Migos flow, Jay-Z, where we going, man?
Ooh, I want to start with this Dr. Dre thing.
Dr. Dre.
No, do you count the Aftermath album and the Compton album in his catalog? Because they're Dr. Dre albums.
Yeah, I gotta count it. Yeah, I'll count it.
He got 4 albums then.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides though. I see both sides.
Because all of his albums are compilations.
Yeah. I'm not the most knowledgeable about that Dre album. I listened to it like a few times, put it up, never listened to it again. So the details of it, I can't, tell you like that.
Okay, you sound like you really want to talk about this Jay-Z thing, man, with the Rock Nation.
Yeah, I think he want to start. He want to talk about Jay-Z. But before you go into that, LeRoy, do you understand the point I was trying to make earlier that you don't like Jay's music? He's great. I predicted that greatness back when I was a wee one, right? But as we go into 2024, his music really hadn't permeated like that, like we thought. Is there any credence to what I'm saying?
Look, I put it to you like this. There are artists out there that if I played for you, you'll be like, that artist sucks. When that artist hits the road, it's like thousands of people showing up to see them at every stop. So they suck to you. So it's like Jay-Z may not be popping here, but he goes somewhere else, it's another story. You know what I mean? So it's like he's playing both sides, and that's I won't even make it about me, but that's a big thing between me and a lot of people I'm around that all rap. They want to do one thing and stick to the one thing, and they refuse to move. And that's great. I'm not, if you want to do boom bap on every single song that you make for the rest of your life, I'm not mad at you. But it's like, if you want to do both, you know what I mean? I'm looking at how to financially hold together a company. So do I just make boom bap every time I hit the studio? Every day I'm recording. Do I just make boom bap every single day? Or do I try to do I implement the Migos flow sometimes? It's try to go somewhere else. It's up to
you bring up an interesting point, not to cut you off. When it comes to Jay, right? And we talked about his run and just kind of going with the times, right? And how it kind of worked against him when it comes to his music aging a certain way because it sounds like a certain era. Jay-Z had a company with his partners, and he had a responsibility to sell records. And so as an artist,
he had to.
He didn't really have the license to go out there and take many chances because as a business owner, his objective was to sell records. And so as an artist, he ended up approaching, that business, with what's going to work. I'm not going to go out here and try to recreate the wheel, put out something that's not going to be fruitful and bring revenue for the business. I'm going to do what works. And I get it. I respect that. But as an artist, I think that has come back to kind of work against.
What are we knocking Jay-Z? Are we saying that Jay-Z ain't got bars or something?
No, we would never say that.
You know what I'm saying?
What we're saying is,
if you go to the studio, you already got bars. So it don't matter what beat comes on. It doesn't matter. They're all getting barred up. So you can play the pop beat, it's getting barred up. You can play the R&B beat, it's getting barred up. Boom bap, they're all getting barred up. It doesn't matter. You're the same person in all these different realms. But it's like Jay had to make sure that Def Jam felt safe with their partnership. He also had to make sure that his partners felt safe. He also had to make sure his artists felt safe, and he had to keep the lights on. So it's different from just a lot of artists. They only rap for their own pockets. Jay, he had to make sure everybody else, because you can't put out a Beanie Sigel album with no money. You need money for that. You can't put out Freeway, State Property. He signed Beanie Siegel's whole gang. Then you got Memphis. Then you got the production. He signed Just Blaze and Kanye West. He didn't just get beats from them. He signed them. So he got to make sure their livelihood is taken care of. So he can't just rap. Like he can't just
make artist on the label. He was the biggest artist on his label. So
yeah, it's a financial toll. Like when you come from a crew that don't have the bread like that, it's like, what are you gonna do? Now, granted, he had the bread, but I'm just saying to uplift a whole brand, it's a lot. And if they made one false move, it was over with. The people act like Rockefeller could have just kept on going, bro. If them records did not sell, let's say
Volume 3.
No, or I was even gonna go Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1, but let's say they didn't sell nothing. Like they barely sell nothing. The whole label folds, and we never hear from Jay-Z ever again.
Right, I think what Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1 did was, even though they didn't do astronomical numbers, they showed promise, right? And they showed that he had a following. They showed that there was something here. So I don't know if the numbers were so much important with those albums as it was by the time the Def Jam situation really got rolling on Volume 2. Now you got a Hard Knock Life tour. I think Volume 3 is probably one of the most important efforts of Jay's career, because he had to follow up Volume 2 and the hits that were on there.
Right.
Big Pimpin' is a big deal.
Big record. Hold on one second, guys. We had somebody else join our chat. Super be duper. What's going on, my man?
What's really good? What's happening?
Yo, what's good, man?
What's good? What's on your mind?
Hey, I agree with what you say. To me, Jay-Z best albums is definitely Reasonable Doubt and Volume 1. All the other ones, I like a song or two here and there, but to me, the hits got a little corny after that. I really can't stand one Jay-Z hit. Like, I don't like nothing that he did mainstream, honestly. Now.
You don't like Death? Well, I don't know if Death Auto Tune was mainstream, but that was a single. So I like Death Auto Tune. You know what I mean?
Hey, but when you say it don't age well, that's really what I mean. Like, nobody. When the last time anybody listened to Holy Grail or even the Annie song? Like, I can't stand Hard Knock Life no more. I don't want to hear that. I don't. It's like nothing that I play from Jay-Z.
Now that you say
I hope my audio ain't too bad. I'm in the middle of Pennsylvania, in the middle of nowhere, in my truck right now.
No, you good, brother.
Your audio's good.
Perfect.
You know what? When it comes to Jay-Z singles, right? And when you say it in that way, because I feel like Jay-Z's B-sides are his strongest records, because they give you his personality. They give you who he is as an MC. The one single that I would, put forth and see if you like, what about the Rock Boys?
No, that's one of his best hits to me. Exactly. But that whole album was really kind of like B-side Jay. Like, that's B-side Jay really, when it come down to like the music and the sound and like even the singles.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
Encore. The real Leonard Washington said Encore aged well.
You was in the club when them Jay-Z hits went on, and you witnessed the club go up every night that you heard them.
I hear you. I feel you when you say that, LeRoy. But honestly, when I get in my car and I'm driving in my truck down this highway, I'm not playing club music.
Not you.
I'm not. I know. No, I'm not. I understand, but you gotta. It still gotta go with what you're gonna listen to on an everyday basis. When you sitting down in your car, when you chilling, I'm not trying to dance. Really, you know what I'm saying? I want to vibe. I want to hear the lyrics.
Right. I feel you. I mean, and LeRoy, you brought up a point. Back in the day, those songs lit up the club, lit up the nightlife. But I'm talking about 2024. You can still hear 50. You still hear some 50 records in the club to this day, and it still has the same effect as it did. I don't really hear them J records like that when I go out. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know how crazy it is to talk about Hard Knock Life as if it's not that one? Do you know how crazy that is?
I feel you. I
feel
Hard Knock Life probably plays more than any other J rap record that he has, period. Now, and probably
better than PSA. PSA.
It's probably one of the most played rap songs. Now, granted, you have to, bro. They every day. I'm talking without fail. Every day, Hard Knock Life comes on the radio. If you don't believe me, turn on the radio tomorrow. Just leave it on. I guarantee you're gonna hear that song 3 times, and that's 27 years later. That is insanity.
I mean, it definitely deserves some respect in that aspect when you put it like that. But it's not the Jay-Z that I like. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about me, but it's still kind of corny. You know what I'm saying? Like when I hear it now, it's cringy to me. I don't really like the beat no more. The bars ain't even all that. It's like it's so played out that I just never want to hear it again.
I listen to Jay's B-sides more for sure, and it sounds like
great, man. If we was from Hollywood, if we was from Beverly Hills, we might feel different. But we not from that environment, so we don't understand why Hard Knock Life works. We don't understand why.
I understand why Hard Knock Life works.
Run this tank works.
I ain't knocking Jay. I ain't knocking Jay. I'm just saying in 2024, those records ain't really resonating like they used to. Like my man.
It's like Snoop Dogg. You just talked about Snoop and Premier, right? These are two, and not to cut you, bro. I'm my bad, but Snoop and Primo are two of the greatest just artists that we've ever seen or heard. Mm-hmm. So when you're listening to their music now, you're like, oh, it kind of resonates. It doesn't resonate. That's cool, but that's after you've heard 1,000 songs from them. You know what I mean? You've heard 1,000 Snoop records and 1,000 Primo beats. That's why it's not resonating like that, because they raised you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Snoop and Primo raised you.
I was listening to the radio the other day, and I heard Snoop, What's My Name? I heard Southern Hospitality by Ludacris, actually. I hear If I Ruled the World all the time. I feel like I hear If I Ruled the World more than I do any Jay-Z song now. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not a huge fan of If I Ruled the World like that either, but
I Ruled the World is that one, though. That's that one. See, people are going to bring up every other Nas song. No, and no diss to Nas. I love Nas, but ain't nothing Nas can ever do that will ever equate to If I Ruled the World, bruh. If I Ruled the World impacts the world. It impacts the world. Now Nas did a lot of the heavy lifting, but people love Lauryn Hill around the world, especially in 1996. She talking about walking up to the sun hand in hand. You know what I'm saying?
They don't love her now, waiting 2 hours for her shows to start.
Come on, like
well, it's 2020.
Come on.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
I got a bone to pick with you, both of y'all being from the South, man.
All right, all day. What's up?
I want to know why. And listen, tell me if I'm wrong, but this is just my opinion. UGK Riding Dirty is in my top 5 albums of all time. When it come down to substance, the music, the stories they told, the content of the album, it's in my top 5. Like I want to know why y'all from the South don't represent that album like it should be represented. Talk me down. Tell me this. You got to give me a reason why it's not in the top 5.
You know, the reason I'm going to give you, and it might not be the best reason, is I feel like 8 Ball and MJG's Coming Out Hard is the one when it comes to that. When it comes to the South, when it comes to representing, like, just coming up from the mud. I like Coming Out Hard more than I like Riding Dirty. Person.
But listen, what song on Coming Out Hard is as real as One Day You Hear You, Next Day You Gone, or High Life, or Diamonds and Wood? Ooh. Like, what songs on there that can compare to that content that they brought on there? Like the content that UGK and people, I understand that they was from the South and Pimp C had that country twang and everything, but I mean that, like, when it comes down to what we listen to or what we say as hip hop heads, what we like content. We like beats. Right. We like, I love 8 Ball and MJG too, but there's more on some pimping and running game and armed robbery but Pimp C and Ball and Bun B, they lyrics, they had that content that's like that it still hit you to your heart. They got some songs on there that'll make you shed a tear if you in the wrong spot in time.
You're right.
I
One
feel
day
you,
you're
I
here
feel
and
you, I
then
feel
you're
you.
gone is an X Factor record. Like there ain't no record like that on Coming Out Hard. And I think that, and I'm guilty of this too, when it comes to Southern stuff, like we're so sonic heavy. I think we put the sonics first sometimes and kind of ignore the substance. That's why even when I was talking about Trick Daddy being better than Fat Joe and people acting like I'm crazy, I'm like, Trick Daddy got substance with his shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that when it comes to Southern MCs with substance, if you're not, and I'm not bashing New York before y'all say, you know what I'm saying, it's a New York bashing session. If you're not rhyming in a New York style with your content, then people kind of ignore that content. And I just did it there when it comes to UGK. So yeah, I'm gonna go listen to both.
We might need to do. We're gonna do a review. We need to do a review on that on Riding Dirty. We need to do a retro review of both Coming Out Hard, Riding Dirty. Put it up on the website. Do a video. Do a retrospect flashback review. Let's see what's up. But I'm with my man. I think I got Riding Dirty.
I gotta review it. You know, I gotta listen.
I got Riding Dirty all day, and I love on Hard. That's one of my favorite albums. But it's just like the substance, and like I said from what I already said from the beginning, it's just
sound like we might need to do a station head.
I mean, Pimp C was a 101, man.
He really was. These super chats, man. I know we left these for a minute. Cop with the super chat says, "Is it possible to do a show on mixtape DJs?" It is. We got to do that because mixtape DJs are important, man. OG Weston with OG Weston with the super chat says, "I think that's true when it comes to some of Jay's hits. Jay's B-sides have aged much better. Hence why I think he ran from the versus stage."
Jay-Z's.
I don't think he ran. I don't think he ran from a versus stage. I don't think the bag was big enough. Bag wasn't big enough. I mean, he's Jay-Z.
Do y'all like club music? The answer is no. So that's all we gotta know. If y'all don't like club music, you don't like Jay-Z's singles.
But he don't have to do clubs because I remember when Jay-Z did that B-sides. When he did that B-sides concert, that concert was lit.
Bro, he had to do the B-sides concert because that's his strongest material. Jay-Z, I don't know Jay-Z.
Country rappers be in the club getting down with females. They don't want y'all to know that, but they go to the club and they be in the club. So Jay-Z is giving you his full experience because he used to go to the club. That's all it is.
This is what I want to say though.
That's all it is, bro.
I think that Jay made those records for the business. The Hustler Jay made those records because he needed to sell records for his company. Those B-side records are the songs that Jay-Z, the artist, wanted to make. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why he even did a B-sides concert. That's why he even made the statement when they asked him about a versus that his B-sides could run a versus because that's what he would want to play anyway. He loves the Evils. He loves Can I Live. He loves 1,000,001. These are the songs that he says are his favorite songs.
Y'all want an artist to be hot forever. I don't know if that's even possible, but it's like, what's the difference? If I'm in the street and somebody says, yo, we gonna have a cipher, we gonna just go for who has the most bars, the hardest bars. I'm down for that. We can play them games. I love them games. But now if we gonna go to the club, I can do that too. It's an experience of both sides. What you want me to say? I don't like the club. Do y'all people not like parties?
We love the club. But I'm talking. Are you talking about 1998 or 2024?
Right. I was gonna ask you, LeRoy, what songs are you talking about when you're talking about club music? You got to be specific.
Yeah.
Because I ain't hearing it in the club.
I'm just saying we could pull up all his like singles. Probably were club stuff, right?
What songs are you talking about, LeRoy?
Well, I mean, we can go any era. We go 90s, 2000s, but it sounds like y'all want to talk about right now in 2024.
I named some songs. What club songs are you saying?
Okay. Let me help it out. Let me help it out. Run this town. Can I get them?
Ends in Paris.
You talking about Kanye stuff? I'm talking about
public service announcement.
It was signed to Rockefeller. What's the difference?
Public service announcement.
What's the difference? if me and you make music in the same studio, we homies. Okay, like him and Kanye in the same studio. What's the difference?
Because Kanye, you know what? Kanye could do those, and he can actually make a hit with a song like "A Jesus Walks." He can actually make a hit with a song like "Flashing Lights." He can make a hit with songs that don't have to be "quote unquote" club records.
I think Jesus was already big before Kanye.
Jesus is pretty big.
Yeah.
He celebrated resurrection yesterday. Yeah.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Jesus was kind of popping. You know, he was kind of popping. Shout out to Jesus. He be popping in these streets.
And he's popping too. You know what I'm saying? And he was kind of popping.
Love Jesus. Got no problem with Jesus. Want no issue with Jesus. But the whole thing is like, Jay, you know, people are saying he does it for the business. I think they were honest songs about where he was in that experience. You know what I mean? And that if you make an "Excuse Me, Miss," sometimes you go to the club, you be like, "Excuse me, miss," you know, you fly, you popping. You know what I mean? I seen the girl from Black Ink, like one of the girls from Black Ink, New York, and I was like, bro, in real life, she popping. I had to, you know, let me keep it cool, but I had to slide like, what's cracking? But you know,
man, Kanye can make Ham and Runaway. I mean, we talking about. I just saw a graphic the other day, and I'm gonna pull it up. Yeah. And people were asking, like, well, where's Jay-Z, right? It was the highest selling first weeks in hip hop history. And I'm gonna read this off. So, rap albums with the highest selling first weeks. Eminem, the Marshall Mathers LP did 1.76 first week. Then the Eminem Show, 1.32. 50 Cent's The Massacre, 1.14. Lil Wayne's The Carter, 1 million the first week. Drake's Views did 1 million the first week. The Carter 5 Carter 4, did 964,000. Graduation did 957,000. Get Rich or Die Trying did 872,000. Eminem's Encore did 871,000. Kanye's Late Registration did 860,000. Snoop's Doggy Style did 806,000 the first week. And people were asking, where's Jay? Kanye's here twice. And he doesn't, quote unquote, make club music. We already know why he sold those records. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Wayne makes club music.
If I'm coming off the street and I start my company and I'm just rapping and I happen to be really good and I'm gaining a lot of ground, then I meet you after 5 years of mega success. I've learned in that time how to do things better business-wise because I've been in the game. So when I sign you, I'm gonna give you better opportunity than what I did myself because I didn't know coming off the street. But now that I know, I'm gonna make sure that you are popping at an even higher level than me.
So Hov did that, so hopefully you wouldn't have to go through that. You're not going to admit that Kanye, when it comes to being more of a balanced overall artist, and I'm not talking about him being a producer.
He makes beats.
No, I'm not talking about that part. But him being able to make singles and make songs that aren't quote unquote club songs or singles.
Song Cry is a club song. That's insanity. Like, why would you be? This Can't Be Life is a club song. That's insanity. You know what I mean? Like, why would you play This Can't Be Life in the club? And it actually gets played. Well, not now, but at the time. It actually was getting burned in the club. Like, who plays This Can't Be Life? Like,
do you think Kanye makes better music than Jay-Z?
I think Kanye makes better beats than Jay because Jay don't make beats. Or do I think Kanye can? It's like, Mike, I'm sure maybe you can go in the studio sometimes or have done without even writing nothing down. Now, when you get on the beat, your words are glued to the beat a certain way because you didn't write it down. That means all you have to go off is the feeling of it. So your words are glued to it different. With Jay not writing, makes his words glued to the beat, more close knit. Kanye is it is being written. So I do think if it comes to just bars, I think Kanye is going to go in there and try to write something. Jay is going to go off his feeling at the moment. And I think that is a more honest. I'm just going to give you I'm not even going to write it down. I'm just going to start rapping.
Well, do you think that it is a luxury in Jay's standpoint? And I'm a fan of both, where a lot of the times when Jay walks in there, let's look at the blueprint, for example, right? The hook's already in place. The beat's already in place. And all he has to do is give us the 16 around it. Because Give It To Me, let's look at Give It To Me. He goes in there, gives us the Biggie first 4 bars.
Yeah, but
the track is already there.
Bro.
The hooks are already there. He just got to jam out. Whereas when we look at somebody like a Kanye, he's doing a lot of the times the production. Some people feel like he doesn't do all the writing all the time. That's fine, right? And then he's giving you the hook. He's giving you the concept. He's giving you those catchphrases within the song. When he get on, they leave your ass for a white girl. You know what I mean? Like
we can't talk about quotables with Jay-Z. Come on.
No, quotables are quotables. Jay got the quotables, but if we're talking about making a record that is hit worthy and radio worthy, I think that I think Kanye's probably better at those catchphrases within songs.
Was 50
he knows what gets the people moving.
Was 50
I've never seen somebody make a blueprint off the top of their head.
Was 50 Mike, to your point, was 50 a better songwriter, hook maker than Jay?
He's a better hook maker than everybody.
For 20 years, was he? Or for a few years, was he? Because Jay was good at hooks for about 25 years or 20.
Wait a minute. I'm not gonna let you do that, LeRoy Green. Jay's good at hooks. Hold on. Jay's good at hooks. Where?
Even if he doesn't write the hook or say the hook, he's placing the hook on the beat. He's the one.
No, give me your top 3 or 4 Jay-Z hooks,
bro. It does whatever. When your record is done, you got to sign off that this record is coming out. When you sign it off, that's your decision. That's your decision.
I think
we talk about the pin game. We talk about 50's pin game.
I think Jay-Z's best hook is on the Foxy Brown I'll Be song. I think that's his best hook. Straight out the gate, y'all, we drop hits. Show me how nasty can you get all the way from your hood to the neck of the woods. It's real. One thing.
Yeah,
that's his best hook.
Between 2002 and 2005, 50's killing Jay on the hooks. That's just it. But like between 2009 and 2012, Drake is killing Jay on the hooks. But again, Jay's hook ability may not be good, and the final product, is it good? That's what matters. Is the final product good? Like if I know I'm not a good hook maker, and I say, let me go get Alicia Keys, maybe she can write a better hook than me. People will say, well, Alicia Keys did that for you, but I still had to go get her though.
Somebody else actually wrote that hook for Alicia as well. I just want to give ladies their props.
Yes, someone else did it. That I will never, but I had to go complete the record. Like I had to complete the record. If I'm not a good hook maker, then I got to go find somebody who is.
Does Jay have made you look? You a slave to a page in my rhyme book, getting big money. Playboy, time's up.
Man.
They shooting. Does he have one of those hooks? Even
you've seen Jay's concerts and his B-sides. If Jay doesn't say a word, the crowd will repeat every word to every song.
You don't know it's one of his strongest songs. That doesn't have a hook. PSA is one of his strongest songs. That doesn't have a hook.
Encore.
That's Kanye, though. He like Conway. His verse is so tough, he don't even need the hook a lot of time. He like Conway.
I think that's why we like Just Blaze and Jay working together too, because the hook doesn't even factor in. It's all about the power and the production. I'm trying to think if Jay ever did a hook on a Just Blaze track. I mean,
if you're not good at hooks, it doesn't matter. That's the whole thing. You could figure out a way to to make little lines or do something to make it catchy. And you don't have to be good at hooks. That's the whole thing. If you could be catchy with a line or two, you could breeze through it. Because some people like us, we're listening for verses. We don't care about the hooks, and they know that. Now, if you want to have tough hooks, great hooks, like I'm not gonna lie, I thought about sending some stuff to Quentin Miller just to not get words from him, but to just get his opinion, because sometimes you need another person's opinion.
Quentin Miller clearly knows what he's doing. He's always
LeRoy.
Somebody.
He does.
You got a new dance coming out when you drop your music. Cause you love dancing, man. I want to. You got to have a 2-step or something. You better drop something when you drop your album.
I'll be honest, man. Yesterday, I turned up. I dropped something and I turned up the whole room. Everybody in the room. It was I think it was an Aaliyah sample, but it turned up. And I wasn't trying to do it, but it's like people want to see that you can do it. Is what I'm saying. Like it may not be for your record, but they want to be like, bro, can you make a hit? And sometimes you just got to show people that the ability is there. Now, will I be dancing? Probably not. But in my personal life, do I dance when music comes on? Yeah. I'm not gonna come out here and try to be like I'm just like I'm all about just seriousness all the time. And that's what people think. Like people who really know me, they just think I'm like super serious, super like it's like nah, like I chill, like you know what I mean? Like I'm not,
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Mike, show me what you got was a Just Blaze one. There it is. And you know what? And I think that with the Kingdom Come album, looking back on it from an analytical standpoint, I think that its biggest downfall, among many, but the biggest one was Jay for the first time tried to do a lot of the hooks on that album. And I think that's where a lot of things kind of fell flat and we didn't even notice it at the time, but that's probably one of the weaker parts of his game, being the hit maker that he is and being the great artist that he is and overall great lyricist he is. I think Jay's strongest part of his game is his lyricism. And to even hone in on that even more is his conversational tone when it comes to his lyricism. And Mike, I don't think he taps into that enough when it comes to his commercial records.
You forgot a record. La 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 was a good Jay-Z hook.
Please smoking that la la la.
Nah, that ain't it, man. That's not a good one.
Honestly, man, I feel like that's probably Pharrell, to be honest with you, man. Excuse me, man. But I think that's Pharrell. I'm sorry. I think Pharrell gave him that hook. And we know how the Neptunes rock back then, where it was like
I was trying to find
with the song.
I was trying to find one for Hov.
Yeah.
I was trying to
in
find
this day and age, nothing is selling. Nothing is selling. Nothing is getting people excited. So rappers, what you gonna do? What we doing? What we doing? Are we gonna bar out? If we gonna bar out, then that's great. Let me know. But
I think in that era, what we gonna bar out?
Nothing is selling. Nothing is moving. Beyonce is moving, but she's Beyonce. And Kanye
genre now.
But who rapping? Who's moving the needle? We got the big three, right? But they've been the big three since 2007.
15 years now, right?
How long they gonna be the big three rappers? What we gonna do? What's gonna move? What is the Get Rich or Die Trying? The College Dropout? The Blueprint? What is that?
J. Cole gotta make it. Like J. Cole has to make it now.
You got that? Yeah. So I'm just saying, and I'm not saying it's not about me. I'm saying rapper. I'm saying everybody. If you're gonna use an old formula in 2024 and expect new results, that's what most everyone included, most of us are doing, and we're not getting new results. We're not getting. So what is gonna move the needle? And I'm not even necessarily talking about the numbers. If your record come out and it don't do numbers, I don't care about numbers. I ain't no executive. I'm a street. It's good.
I think
what will move the needle is actually just the rappers being more original. Like everybody kind of so boring and like got the same style and like they speak on the same things. And really people don't have like slick metaphors and they not wowing you with their lyrics really like they used to back in the day where you had to sit back and almost study an album and you had to study a song and you know, oh, he said this, he said that.
So
They not saying slick words. They not putting together nothing that's even complicated. Like, you know the song after the second time you hear it really nowadays. So that's
right,
that's
because
really what they need to do.
Yeah, and I agree with that. To piggyback on that, I remember when Wu-Tang dropped, and I hate to go back to that, but it's like you would hear that shit and be like, yo, what the fuck is this? I just want that feeling when I hear something that, even if it's something I don't understand outright, I want it to be as original enough where I'm like, yo, what is this? Like, I gotta hear this again to catch it.
stepping out of comfort zones is what needs.
The last record that gave me that feeling was 10 by West Side Gun. I was like, what am I listening to? Like, their music takes me. It's the only music in the last 5 to 10 years that gives me that feeling. Like, what am I listening to? Is West Side Gun records.
Super Get Party's crazy. Blow for Blow's crazy. You know,
you play West Side Gun for your significant others, right? And what does she say when it come on? She say turn that off, right?
Not mine.
Hey, but that don't matter. Like, if there was a time,
no, I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I'm just saying.
Listen, man.
There
was a time back when rap wasn't even really like, females wasn't really even like, they was listening to Brandy and Monica and SWV. So like, what the females really honestly think, and this might sound wild, but it don't matter really like that. They like to dance. Listen. It's not about the app. Females matter when it comes down to album sales. But I'm from the school where I don't even want my girl to like my rap music. Like, I don't even want her to like what I like, really. She can like what she like, and I like what I like. So when she playing Drake, I might be like, cut that. I want to tell her to cut that shit off. But I listen to it and I let her do it because that's what she like. But when I'm playing Mobb Deep and Prodigy, she sit back, she vibe to it, she get to learn it, she get to know it, and she like it too, you know, now at this point. But what I'm saying is, like, there was a time back where females wasn't like the measure in a rapper's success.
Right.
So now we putting too much emphasis on like what the ladies like, really, because that's part of the reason why rap is kind of lame now.
But you'd be surprised.
Females didn't start being into the rap era. They didn't start counting until about 2000 when Nelly came out with the Ludacris and the Ja Rules and all that. That's when they really became a factor with this. They wasn't the reason why DMX blew up, or even a Jay-Z, really.
Well, I don't know.
DMX blew up?
No, check that. A lot of females like DMX now. Let's be
I
for
see
real.
what he's saying, though. He's right. I mean, they liked it after the fact that, you know, we was already rocking with it. Similar to Pop, right? You know what I mean?
Do we like DMX more than the females, is what you're saying? Us dudes, we like DMX more than females liked him?
Yeah, I agree with him on that. I think they bought in.
All right.
Yeah, they liked it because we liked it. It's just like even with Too Short, you know, the females, it was disrespectful to them when they first heard it, but they kept hearing it, and Too Short, they started to like Too Short. NWA, females didn't just really like that just off top. They liked it because we liked it, and now we too busy trying to cater to what they like that is really watering down our music, because it's not like it's not as, you know, it's catered towards them and caters towards getting them to twerk. But
yeah,
when it comes down to lyrics and go ahead.
I will say this though. They say that West Side Gun show is like a fashion show. The females like West Side and Griselda. I mean, that's for real.
I think that's more on the fashion art tip though.
But I said the females being his shows heavy. Like for real. Like females, there's not like, you know, tomboys where they're in high heels and some designer stuff that be in his shows like that, like deep. So he has a.
But I never heard a female riding around playing it though. But you know, I understand
it with her dude though. You know what I mean? She might be with her
exactly.
Dude. Right.
Yeah, her dude got her to like it.
He co-signed on her first. Yeah, I see what he's saying.
We love this. We love this so much to where our opinion is multi-dynamic because we love this stuff. A girl, she don't love it like that. She gonna give you her honest, on the dot opinion because she don't have no emotional attachment to it, and that's the opinion that you probably need to hear.
But that's part of the problem too, though, LeRoy. That you don't have no emotional attachment to it. That's part of the problem, really. You know, when rap was special to us when we was coming up back in '96 and '94, and Wu-Tang was coming out, when Nas was dropping, that was special to us. It was a special thing to us. So we didn't even care if the females liked it or not. We liked it, and I'm not saying that that's really totally what we need to get back to, but
the first of
at the same time, I mean, like, you know, like, let them have their thing. Like, I'm not down with unisex nothing. I'm not going out with the same Jordans on that my girl got on. Like, I like to separate the men stuff from the women stuff. It's all right for the females to like Megan Thee Stallion and whoever else, Sexy Red. It's cool for them to like it. But when it get out of hand is when you see football players on there talking about ski yeet. That's when it started to get out of hand.
It's females out here that's into boom bap. They're into the hardcore lyrical stuff. It's females that's into that. What I'm saying is our era is the first of its kind. DMX, Mobb Deep, Nas. That none of these people ever existed like that before. Not on the level that we, Snoop. You know, so now that we're in a level where rap is it's the most popular. It's the most popular probably music or culture ever in human existence, as far as I'm concerned. Now, people can argue that, but it's like now it's like, so what's sustainable? Because the streaming, the internet, back in the day, you bought physical copies, so it was enough dudes where we could buy all that. The girls now, you know, like I'm saying, and people don't have to do it. If you want to make all your songs and make sure your fellas is rocking with it, I ain't mad at that. But it's like, a girl is going to just feel it and tell you if she feels it or doesn't feel it. If you're coming across the right way and you're doing your lyrical miracle and it's hitting the right way, she gonna rock with it. She gonna rock with it. You know what I mean? But that's
and you're right. You're definitely right when you say that. But like I said, it's about the respect of the music. Like most of the music that females really like a lot, you know, they put dudes like, look how many albums Nelly sold. Don't nobody really respect Nelly as far as like being a real lyricist or even the Ja Rule. Look how quick 50 was able to play out Ja Rule because the females liked it, but the true hip hop fans and the true real hip hop heads, they weren't really feeling that like that. It was cool to play it with your girl and all that, but it didn't move the needle for you as a man or as a person that really grew up liking and loving this and getting it to where it's at right now. It didn't do much for you.
I hear you. No, you're right. You're right.
Real Magic with the super chat says, for me, most memorable beats by Just Blaze is with T.I.
Yeah, fire with T.I.
Yeah, he got some fire with T.I., but nah, the stuff that he did with Jay.
Yeah, fire. But T.I.
Uncle Fran with the super chat says, Mike, still DRE hook is iconic. It's hot on volume 3. It's fire. And Obama won primarily with the Dirt Off Your Shoulders hook. Huh. Okay. See, I like that. Uncle Fran came with some evidence. So the Still DRE hook, it's dope, but I guess with Snoop's voice, I would be interested to hear what the reference track sounds like with Jay's voice. And if it gives you that same feel, I'm sure it does. Hot as Hot hook is cool. And Dirt Off Your Shoulders. What do y'all think about the Dirt Off Your Shoulders hook?
It's fire. But we all agree that Jay's strong point are the lyrics.
Yeah.
So if we all agree on that, we know why them records is getting bought. When I was young and a Jay-Z record came out, people, they liked the singles, but they really wanted the bars.
Mm-hmm.
They really wanted the bars.
For the lyrics. I didn't listen to Jay-Z for
Females wanted to hear bars when I was young. Now they liked the party stuff, but when it came to Jay-Z, though, something clicked in their mind to where they wanted to hear lyrics.
Dana's a huge Jay-Z fan, and she's big on lyrics, and I think that's why she connected with Jay, is because of what he was saying, how he was talking, and how he approached it.
Conversation.
So, the conversational thing is a real big piece for Jay.
Wasn't even rapping.
I don't think there's many people who are even close to him when it comes to that. We want to talk about being the GOAT in things. His conversational flow. Yeah. Nobody beats him in that area. Just like nobody beats Nas in the storytelling area. I mean, it's just what it is.
Nas is a great storyteller. If I
You're not gonna do this, are you, LeRoy?
I am going to do this.
You're not gonna.
And the bad thing about it is the day me and Nas meet, because it's some mutual acquaintance, but it's going to be very awkward. But love Nas. He is one of the greatest storytellers in my personal opinion. But it's like, how many of these songs stick with you? You're only going to pick the most famous ones. You ain't picking the ones on the undertuck in the album, on the tucked in the album. You picking the most. I Give You Power. Rewind. People been saying rewind for 25 years.
It's an incredible story, man.
That's the one you know. That's because that's the only one you know. Or
no, it's not. Blazer 50's out there. Shootouts is out there. No, we know all of them, man. Like his storytelling. If you make a list of Nas's storytelling records, man, you got like 50 stories.
You've made a list, so we already got the list.
Yeah, I've made a list. I mean, I've done that part of the work, and
now
I personally have always said Scarface was number 1, Ghostface was 2, and I would go Nas 3. But then after looking at all of the stories that Nas has put together, there's no way that he's not the best storyteller ever.
I don't know about that.
MC says Girls, Girls, Girls hook is fire also, but I mean that's Q-Tip, Biz Markie, and Slick Rick, and it's a remake of what is that? Not Funky 4+1, but Crash Crew.
Ice Cube as a storyteller. Ghostface is a great storyteller. How many of y'all know Ghostface bars to his stories? Rattle them off. I'll wait.
You gonna do that to me, the Ghostface fan? Or you talking to everybody else?
Mike, not you, Mike. I'm not gonna mess with you, Mike. Watch out. Watch out. Everybody.
Wait a minute. OJ West
with stories. Do y'all know the stories on Big Doe Rehab? Do y'all know the stories on the Wizard of the Ghost Dini? Do y'all know the stories on the Cobblestone Road from the Apollo Brown album? Y'all don't know that. So yeah, he's a great storyteller, but y'all don't know them stories. So what are we talking about?
OG Western with the super chat says, with a amount of hits and longevity, T.I. has better hooks than 50. 10 straight albums of fire hooks. I like T.I.'s hooks, man, but 50, man. I mean,
OJ Western got a call in with that one. I disagree. I got 50 on the hook game.
50 got it with the hooks. He got it with the hooks. I'll give him.
Richard I trying is a master class. Melody.
It's the melody. I get in drumming and I'm in the club and I'm high all the time. And
even stuff like Window Shopper, man. Even stuff like Hustler's Ambition. Hustler's Ambition is I hate to say it like this, for 50 at that time, Hustler's Ambition is kind of like a throwaway. That's a great record. Yeah. It's better than Lose Yourself. I don't care what anybody says.
This guy was singing about guns for sale, and they all for sale. I got 9mm, got the down for the needle, and they all for sale. He started to harmonize it, bro. If we heard them hooks in the street, we would say corny. When you heard them come through the mixtapes, they was a different. Now, what 50 did was step out of the comfort zone. He started singing. What 50 was doing was singing, y'all. He was harmonizing. We'll call it harmonizing, but he was singing.
He was singing. He was bringing melody, and I think
the hardest gangster, right? He's singing. What I'm saying, if we're gonna move forward, people gonna have to try some different stuff. When you have the 50 Cent coming out singing, you know what I mean? Because that's what he was doing. He was getting y'all with the melodies.
His hooks were better than his bars, some people said. I think 50 kind of dumbed down his style so that it could reach the masses. I mean, because if you follow 50 before Get Rich or Die Trying, he can do the rapidy rap stuff. He has that talent. But I think that he went for a more simplified flow, similar to what Jay did on Volume 2, so that he could connect.
Right. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Every one of us, no matter who you are, you simplify your talking ability throughout your day, throughout your work life, I promise you do. When you go to work or you're trying to get a deal signed, or maybe you're talking to a kid or a female or talking to a mass crowd, you dumb down your the complexities of your talking. That all of us as humans do that. So when a rapper does that, I don't know how that's such a big deal. And to be honest with you, I keep bringing up myself, but I'm just saying because I know a lot of people in here and we got a lot of rappers that listen to this. A lot of people, they're like, bro, why are you lyrical every time you hit a mic? Like, bro, like we're trying to get into a vibe. You know what a vibe is? What you're saying, all these complexities, we're not trying to have a debate over like history, over science, over religion every time you come in here. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to vibe out, bro.
Mad Max to the super chat says, man, LL had the ladies and made some records for the ladies. LL had everyone rapping for women, even Rakim. Let's not lie. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat said, LeRoy, Yolanda's house is like an action movie. Oh yeah, Yolanda's house.
Yolanda's house. Oh, you gotta bring that back. I recognize the title, but I can't recall the like any of the music.
I mean, is there? Look, I know we've been on for a minute and we're having a great conversation. Can we pick this back up on Wednesday? I'm trying to get to this LSU game. I mean, I'm sure it might be almost over now.
The game almost over, B. The game almost. I'm checking the score. They're up by 10 with about. Let me see. About 2 minutes left. 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
That's still time because Caitlyn Clark can do whatever, man.
No. Iowa's up.
Iowa's up? Oh, yeah. No, man. I got to go watch this game, guys.
Caitlyn Clark got 37 points.
She got 37? Fuck, man. See, that's why she's getting offered this $5 million deal, man.
She cooking. But Leroy, we appreciate you, man. We
appreciate y'all. Are we with us Wednesday, Leroy?
Wednesday. Come through Wednesday. Are we doing Wednesday? We doing Wednesday or Thursday, Mike? What we doing?
Let's do Wednesday, man. Thursday was just kind of, it was an audible last week because
if I'm here on Wednesday, but if I'm ever not here, it's because I'm doing something that is of such importance that it could be big later on. Like I'm telling y'all, it could be like some real stuff. Like
we like having you on, Leroy. We like having you on as a regular, Leroy. We gonna work some things out, man. The people like
I love Super B too, man. Super B has some great points, man.
Super B, shout out to Super B. Shout out to Super B. He's in Pennsylvania somewhere. I think he was in the truck riding. We like Super B. Super B, we're gonna do that review of Ride Dirty straight for you. We're gonna put it on a special review, make a podcast about it.
And everybody else who's calling in too, man. Y'all got to get in on the Wednesday show too, because this was lit.
One last thing, it will always be ups and downs when you're doing your thing. Everybody out here, we do our thing. We got our work life, we got our business lives. It'll always be ups and downs, but you got to keep it moving, keep it pushing. You know what I mean? That's all it is. You've done this before. This ain't your first rodeo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to keep it pushing. You know what I mean?
We kept it pushing. You saw the show started off a little rocky today. We had some trolls and people paid. We had some people,
has to be expected. That's part of it.
We had some trolls. We had some people paid operatives in the chat talking this and that, talking about my microphone and talking about my glasses. These are Tom Fords, by the way. Just talking. We saw Jarv in the chat. Shout out to Vince McMahon. We like what they doing over at Round Table. But after we got past that, Mike addressed what he had to address. I addressed what I had to address, and we moved on. We had a great show. So Wednesday,
I'm looking forward to Wednesday for sure, man, because we got a whole lot.
We were going to talk about a couple other things, but we're going to probably wait for Wednesday. We're going to do the Juice review. We do the movie reviews here. I was going to review Juice. We was going to talk about that. I think that's the best acting performance by hip hop artists of all time. I can't think of a better one.
Tupac and Juice is the best
hip hop
artist. The best acting performance by a hip hop artist of all time. Okay,
I can't think of another.
He might be right.
Are we excluding Will Smith and Queen Latifah from these things?
Well, no, we're not. But I still think that was the best performance of all time. I think if you look at Will Smith's movies, you talking about Ali, you talking about the Slave movie he just had. What's the one he had?
Don't do that.
The Slave movie.
So let's be clear. Y'all don't think that Will Smith has an acting performance better than Tupac and Juice?
I don't think so.
Okay. I need to think about that.
A different kind of Juice is like a hip hop classic type of thing. It's like tied with hip hop, right? Juice. What's that other Above the Rim, right? I mean, Smith movies are kind of like the Drake of movies. Like they're the they're not tied to exclusively hip hop. I think Juice was tied to hip hop.
What about Queen Latifah and Set It Off?
No, I still think Bishop's performance, the character Bishop and Juice was better.
Bro,
I'm trying to think. Most Def had a couple acting roles. You had Busta Rhymes had a few. Ice Cube is a movie star, but I'm talking about from a pure performance where you saw Tupac and Juice.
I like Ice Cube and Higher Learning, but I can't say that his performance was better than Tupac.
Love Higher Learning.
What about Cameron and Paid in Full?
That was a dope performance.
Yeah, that was a dope performance too.
Very memorable performance as well.
But Pac, love Pac, man. Pac, he was a trained artist, poet, and actor. That takes nothing away from him. It actually adds to what he brought to the table.
It makes who he was even more amazing.
He didn't just learn this stuff in the street. He went to school, was sat down in front of professors, teachers, professionals who taught him the art of how to deliver lines to where the audience will feel you. Now, people can feel whatever they want to say that. Look up Tupac, look up his history, look to where look what the schools he went to and where he really comes from. You feel his lines because he was trained to deliver them to you in a certain way. Now, if I sit you in front of some of the world's greatest professors on how to act, how to deliver lines, how to write poetry, people are going to feel you too. And that takes nothing away from his natural ability. We all know we had natural ability. I'm just saying it adds to it. It adds to that.
Says Luda and Crash was a dope performance. Yeah, it was. I do think that Tupac's training as a performing arts student added to who he was as an artist. I think that we don't really acknowledge how much of his acting training translated to the way that he made music and how he was able to connect as an artist. And that part of his legacy and his life is extremely important, because if he wasn't trained in those ways, I don't know if his music would have that same effect.
Wasn't Mos Def trained as an actor too?
Yes, he was. He was on the show, that Bill Cosby show, before any of the Black Star stuff and all that. Yeah.
I cannot stress enough how important it is that if you want to be a singer, you should probably take singing lessons. I can't stress how important it is. If you want to be a rapper, you should probably take songwriting lessons. I can't stress enough how important it is to educate yourself on the arts. It will help you make better art. That's just a fact. And if you don't believe me, anybody, find me on social media, or find me wherever you find me, and we'll go over it together. And I'll show you how being educated on your art helps you create better art.
Shout out to my man Mickey Fax on that.
Shout out to Mickey Fax. Every day, this man Mickey Fax, love this. This guy's up at 5 a.m. sending me bars. He did just bars, like, bro. It's 5 a.m.
Crazy.
It's 5 a.m, bro. And this every day. And so when I get off here, I gotta go send back my reply to those bars. This is every day.
Spending some time with Mickey, man. Mickey's a genius, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm seeing how he's moving and all the stuff that he's doing and the way his mind's working, because he was recording a piece of his breakdown for Lupe Fiasco's mural while we were driving to Nashville. And the way he was breaking this stuff down, I'm like, man, y'all mind works in a whole different way, man. Respect. Johnson with the super chat says, Bishop was so good that Pac never broke character.
You freeze, Mike?
I think Mike is frozen, Ben.
But no, that's where I wanted to leave it at. Let's not just talk about the hip hop, but let's try to educate ourselves on it, on the history of it, on how to make it better. And I'm not saying I got the answers. I'm saying collectively we could probably come up with some good stuff, because it's a lot to learn. And like they were saying, Mickey got 100 different ways you could write bars. So it's a lot to learn. Like, you know what I mean? Chilla Jones, different MCs, Loaded Lux, Cannabis, Sahai, you know what I mean? Like these people, they write bars incredible, and it can be learned. It can be learned how to do that. You know what I mean? So this is a craft, a skill. So I challenge everybody: if we're going to take hip hop into someplace else, like someplace crazy, let's educate ourselves and try to really hone in on the craft too.
Let's do that. We're gonna end on that note. We had a good show today. The show started off a little rocky. You know, it is what it is. We addressed the elephant in the room. We're gonna keep moving. We wish everyone the best. We not Monday Night Nitro over here. We according to hip hop.
Look, shout out to everybody, man. The whole thing is you falling out with friends, family, females. We've all had fallouts before. This is nothing new, guys.
Nothing new. Long as we keep it respectful, long as we wish everyone the best. Business is business. Life is life. Love is love. I might have to switch my mic up. They say I sound like I'm on the Late Night Love show. You know what I mean? So I might have to get that raw microphone next week. You know,
man, I had a nightmare last night. I had a nightmare about some international problems across the ocean.
Right.
You know,
right.
So it's like that lets you know it's real. Like it's realer stuff than these little petty things. That I'm not saying this is petty. I'm saying in general, we take an argument or a falling out as such a big thing. It's people around the world, they losing their life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you got to put some things into perspective. You know?
Got it. All right. Well, with that being said, we appreciate you, LeRoy Green. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate you, bro.
According to hip hop. We will be here on Wednesdays. We got some surprises coming down the pipeline. Shout out to my man Mike D. Make sure you go to our website. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. Make sure you go to Spotify. Check out our weekly playlists. Unfortunately, I'll be back for some next week on Wednesday. For those who love me or like me or get to know me, I'll be back on Wednesday. But anyway, this is According to Hip Hop. Peace.